for this amazing lesson about being clairaudient. Okay, I can't do all that right now. All right, thank you. Thank yous, but you want to do not disturb because you was working. And let's go on TikTok. Okay. All right, TikTok is gonna join us. Let me get this situated. Perfect. And we'll get started almost. Almost. Okay. Y'all was sitting outside and got bit by a bug. All right. All right. Welcome to Balanced Millennial Monday once again with your girl, Key, the Conscious Living Coach. We are going to be talking about 5 signs you are clairaudient, y'all. We are doing our series. Hey, Akia. We are doing the series on spiritual gifts. And so I did an introduction last week. Oh, yay. I'm glad you watched it. I did an introduction. Hey, Beauty. Hey, T. I did an introduction last week about clairaudience for last week's episode. So if you did not check last week's episode on Balanced Millennial Monday, after today's live stream, make sure you go check it out. You can check it out on YouTube. You can check it out on Facebook. If you go to Facebook, you need to go to Premier Personal Growth Firm. Or you can join the Balanced Millennial Facebook group if you go on YouTube at Keandra Ware, same as on TikTok. So if you did not watch last week's episode, please go back and check out last week's episode after this one. But today we are going to focus on clairaudience. Clairaudience. Remember last week we talked about clairaudience being the spiritual gift of hearing. Clairaudience is a spiritual gift of hearing. So we're going to dive deeper into clairaudience because I'm going to focus on the gifts that I have because I can speak to those directly. And then I'll do a wrap up of the other gifts to just dive deeper into them because you may have them. I don't have them, but you may have them and I want you to know more about them. So we are going to talk about that today. I feel like I'm supposed to. Okay. I just want to thank everybody for joining me today. So, clairaudience, y'all. Clairaudience. 5 signs you are clairaudient. So, the first one, we're going to dive right into it. The very first sign that you're clairaudient is that you can communicate telepathically. You can communicate telepathically, y'all. When I tell you, I'll think about something and it'll happen. And it's not even like manifest. Everything's manifesting, but not even necessarily in a manifestation type of way, but more so in a way of, let's say I'm not necessarily satisfied with something. I'll think about it and it'll always be involving a person. So I'll think about it and then they'll do it. And I'm just like, yay, I didn't have to say anything. So it could be something as simple as maybe you haven't talked to a friend in a very long time. It's been a while since you talked to one of your close friends. Y'all usually are talking all the time. And you have a thought, right? You think, I wonder how she's doing. I wonder how he's doing. But then it hits you up. That's clairaudience. That's clairaudient. That is clairaudient. You communicated with them. And remember, y'all, again, if you did not watch last week's episode, I talked about how these spiritual gifts are frequency. So that thought that you had is a frequency. That thought that you had is a frequency. And when you send that frequency out into the world, it traveled to that person, whether you believe it or not. It traveled to that person. So what that looks like to them, y'all, I got my dry erase board. I might start Doing some diagrams in here. Hold on. Hopefully it's not backwards because we're on camera. But y'all gonna have me bring the dry erase board out. Okay, I like that though. Put me in my teacher bag. Put me in my teacher bag. I like to teach. All right. Thank you, girl. Thank you, girl. Cause yeah, I'm finna have to figure out how to do this. I'm gonna have to bring my table down. All right, y'all, work with me. I'm finna switch angles, switch positions, all that good stuff. So, hold on. Don't fall. Act right. You know, you gotta just tell it. I gotta stand into sitting desk. It's gonna fall. Okay, hold on, y'all. We shifting. I'm gonna lean you up against the wall because you're acting up. Oh. Sorry, TikTok. I'm coming back. Give me a second. Okay, I wasn't prepared to have all this out. Okay. Okay, TikTok, my bad. Y'all don't leave. Okay. All right, so shifted angles. We're gonna bring the board out. And let's get this drawn up for you. Okay, so again, we are talking about communicating telepathically, right? As a sign that you are clairaudient. So let's say, let me use this chair for what it's for. It's a crisscross chair, and I never sit crisscross in this chair. So let's sit crisscross in this chair. Okay. Let's see, TikTok, I might have to angle y'all different so you can see the board. But my stand is beeping with me because it is not. Technical difficulty, y'all. That's just part of the studio life, you know. I'm gonna get mad. Okay. I gotta give this something to balance up against because it does not stand. Okay. There we go. Okay. Appreciate y'all for being patient with me. You know, I'm trying to figure this shit out real quick. All right, so you have a thought. You have a thought, little thought bubble, right? And you're thinking, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to my best friend in so long. It's been so long since I had a conversation with her. I wonder what she got going on. I wonder what's happening in her life. You have this thought, right? Beat. I'm writing upside down, so y'all bear with me. So you have this thought, right? You're thinking about your BFF. So now what happens when you have this thought, when you are clairaudient, is that you are sending a frequency. You are sending a frequency, right? So you're sending this frequency out, and your best friend catches this frequency. Don't be talking about stick figures either. Your best friend catches this frequency. So since your best friend is catching this frequency, I gotta turn this light down. This is glaring on the board. Yeah. With your best friend now catching this frequency, what's going to end up happening is that your best friend is going to call you. She's going to hop on the phone and she's going to call you. She's going to call you because what happened when you are when you're communicating with someone telepathically, what ends up happening is that they get the urge to call you. They get the urge to reach out. They get the urge to contact because for them it's random. For them it's like, girl, I was thinking about you and I was like, let me call you. But when you are clairaudient, there are no random things. When you're clairaudient, there is no coincidence. What's happening is that frequency that you're sending out telepathically goes to the person. It goes to the place. It goes where it needs to go. So way you can do less work and you can just respond, because most of us are generators. I talk about this a lot too with our human design. Most of the world is generators. And so a lot of us need something to respond to. But if you are always the one initiating and you're a generator, it's going to be hard for you to respond because you are always trying to initiate. So when you are clairaudient and you are communicating telepathically, what's happening is that the person that you are intending to receive that frequency is actually receiving it. And it feels like an implanted idea in their head. And it's not necessarily that, is the fact that you sent that frequency to them and they caught it. That's another way for you to know that you are connected to people, that you have a strong connection to people. Because when you have a weak connection to people, it's hard for you to communicate telepathically with them. So I can give you another example. So me and my best friend, for my birthday, maybe three years ago, for my birthday, I remember we had a whole conversation in the hotel room without even speaking to each other. Without even speaking to each other. I remember the man that she was with at the time was trying to put the switch. He was trying to put the switch, and I was getting nervous because I'm like, we had a hotel room, like he break this shit, we got to pay for this. And so I'm like looking at her, thinking my thoughts to her, and she's responding to me. Like we're like communicating with our thoughts right now and had a whole conversation with our thoughts. So when you're communicating telepathically, I want you to think about it as a frequency. You're sending that energy out there. It's a frequency. And you're sending it out and you're giving it to someone else. So that's the first one. That's the first sign. The first sign is that you are communicating telepathically. And again, this is just like, oh, I was thinking about you when you called me, or they text you, or your email pops up and that's, you were thinking about that. Like you're communicating telepathically. A lot of people see this as a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. You drew that to you. You sent that frequency out and it came back to you. The next one is that you are easily overstimulated with contrasting frequencies. The reason why I say frequency and not noise is because some people can hear a lot of different noises at one time and be clairaudient and be okay. I'm talking about specifically frequencies. So they're like, I talk about music a lot. Like music is a like very, very impactful in our lives, in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits. And so there are times where like people will straight up love a song and I will cut that shit straight off because I'm sensitive to the frequency of the music. And so it's like a lot of people don't hear the frequency in music. A lot of people don't hear the frequency in sounds. They only hear the sound. When you're clairaudient, you hear the frequency. You don't just hear the sound, you hear the frequency. So what ends up happening is that when you are hearing contrasting frequencies, so frequencies that don't flow well together, frequencies that don't align, frequencies that clash, and that like, what it sounds like to me is that the frequencies bang up against each other. Whereas because I am clairaudient, I prefer my frequencies to like, think of Janae Aiko. Aiko. How you say her name? Think of that. Like I prefer my frequencies to sound like that. Like how she just is able to just blend these sounds, these instruments together. I like my frequencies to sound that way. I like my frequencies to look that way. And let me show you what I mean too visually. Let me grab this. So what that looks like. So when I'm saying contrasting frequencies, again, what that sounds like to you, if you're clairaudient, may be different than what that sounds like to me. What that sounds like to me being clairaudient is that these frequencies are running into each other. They're clashing into each other. What I prefer as someone who's sensitive to frequencies and sensitive to the noise, I like my frequencies to flow together. And even if they're different frequencies, I still need them to flow together, or else I get overstimulated. My ears are like, absolutely not. Turn that shit off. I don't want to hear that. So when you are clairaudient, you tend to get overstimulated by contrasting frequencies. So I want you to pay attention to that too. Even after this live, is pay attention to the way that you hear sounds, because when you're clairaudient, you don't just hear a sound. It's not just about the sound. When you're clairaudient, you hear frequencies. And so again, there are times where people may love a very popular song. I can't listen to that because the frequency in the music doesn't sound good. But if you're not someone who hears frequency, you probably can listen to that song, enjoy that song, have a good ass time, listen to that song. Me, I'm gonna cut that shit off. I'm gonna cut that shit off because my ears do not like contrasting frequencies. My ears do not like, yeah, no. No, if you want to see me go, I'm already moody as is. Shout out to cancers. I'm already moody as is, but you want to see me really go from 0 to 100, clash frequencies, and I'm gonna lose it. So that's number 2. Again, number 1 is that you communicate telepathically. That's a sign that you are clairaudient. Number 2 is that you are easily overstimulated with contrasting frequencies. Do not confuse that with sound, but actual frequency. The third one is that you can feel music, or that you're musically gifted. So this goes along kind of with number 2. Usually when you're clairaudient, you can feel music. Like, music is not just something that sounds good to you. You can feel music. Like, music makes you feel better. Music makes you feel an emotion. Music makes you can help influence you. Music, and when I say feel music, it's the frequency. It's the frequency. So when I'm listening to music, I can feel, but also, I am very much a Southern woman. I am very much a Southern woman. I definitely grew up, with the trunk bumping. I still trunk bass bumping, all that. So I still am that way. So I feel like that's another reason why I can feel music the way that I can, because I grew up, with the trunk rattling. So I've always been able to feel the music in my body from the music playing. But also, it's easy for you to spot things in music. Like, you can spot a sample really good. If you can spot a sample really good, it's likely that you're clairaudient. Like, if you can hear even a split second of it, if you can hear a split second of a song and you're like, oh, that was sampled from that song from the 70s, like, you're probably clairaudient. Because again, when you're clairaudient, your body connects to sound differently than people who are not clairaudient. So your body, what will happen is your body will attach an emotion to that sound the first time you hear it. So the first time you heard that song from the 70s, your body attached an emotion to that song, whether you know it or not. Your body attached an emotion to that song. So then once you hear the remake and you hear the sample that was used in that song, what ends up happening is that you automatically go back to that song from the 70s, because you already have an emotion attached to that. You're probably clairaudient, because when you're clairaudient, you can feel music. Music, like, it feels different in your body. Like, that when you're in a mood, you know what songs you need to listen to. When you're in a really happy place, you know what songs you need to listen to. When you're working out, which, like, even for me, because I'm clairaudient, I know that when I'm like doing yoga, when I'm meditating, when I'm stretching before and after my workout, I know that I'm going to listen to like slower music. Like, I'm going to listen to slower paced music. because that's going to help me stay at a slower pace throughout my workout, throughout the yoga session, throughout the stretching session, throughout the meditation. That's going to keep me at a calm, slower pace. But when I'm working out, when I'm on that treadmill, when I'm on a stair climber, when I'm on them weights, like when I'm working out, it's always something upbeat because I have to keep my energy upbeat, and the music is going to help me keep my energy upbeat because I'm clairaudient, because I feel the music, and that is going to help me stay in tune. So the third one is that you can feel music or that you're musically gifted. So people who are really good at playing musical instruments are probably clairaudient, especially if you can play multiple instruments very well, you're probably clairaudient. People that can mix, produce, that can make music from scratch, like probably clairaudient, because you have to have a special ear. You have to have a very special ear to do music. You have to have a very special ear to know that this music is going to make people feel a certain way because it's making you feel a certain way. Because you know how to use your words, you know how to use your gifts to a point where you can evoke emotion with music. You're probably clairaudient. So that's number 3. Number 4, you can hear things that others cannot. You can hear things that others cannot. So there are definitely times where I'll be like, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that? You hear that?" I feel like I ask that question a lot. You hear that? Because first off, I strengthen my gift. So there are definitely times where I will like sit in complete silence just to strengthen my gift. And what that looks like is extending where I can hear. So when you are strengthening this gift, and I guess I should talk about that too. But when you're strengthening your gift of clairaudience, what happens is you're going to sit in silence and you're going to sit quietly. And what you want to do is you want to focus on the sounds that are closest to you. And you want to keep going further and further and further out to the point where you should be able to hear things going on outside your house, just because that's your gift and you're in tune. And so even right now, like I'm in the house, I'm in the house. I can hear outside. Like I can hear things that are going on up the road. Like I can hear those things because I'm in tune with my gift. So it's very important that when you are working on this gift, that you do allow yourself that silence, that you do allow yourself that quiet time, and that you do practice this gift, because none of these spiritual gifts are going to be strengthened or going to be the best for you if you're not practicing them on a regular. So that's number 4, is that you can hear things that others cannot. So if you find yourself asking all the time, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Can you hear that?" Then you are probably clairaudient, because no, they did not hear that. No, they did not hear it. You heard it, and they're not going to understand. So last but not least, number 5, ringing of the ears. So the ringing of the ears, the buzzing of the ears, a lot of times that is someone trying to get your attention. Someone is trying to get your attention. Someone has something to tell you. Someone has something to tell you. There is something that needs to be said to you. There is someone trying to get your attention. And so your ears are ringing, your ears are buzzing, because you need to pause and you need to think. You need to pause, you need to think, you need to hear. You need to sit and you need to listen, because someone's trying to get your attention. Usually when my ears are ringing or if my ears are buzzing, I'll just stop. I'll just stop and I'll just listen. And I'm like, usually what it is your thoughts. The thoughts that are happening at that time is usually what you need to tune into. It's usually what you need to tune into. So if you get the buzzing, the ringing, that weird like swimmer's ear sometimes, and you haven't been swimming and you haven't had any water in or near your ear, you may be clairaudient. But in those moments, you want to take the time to listen. You want to take the time to hear. You want to take the time to see what is being said to you and what message is for you right now in this moment. And then as you strengthen the gift, you'll notice that your ears will ring and buzz more often. You'll notice that while you're meditating, they'll ring and buzz. You'll notice that while you are hyper focused on a sound, it'll ring or buzz. which is perfectly fine. It's part of the process. It's part of the journey of learning more about your spiritual gift and strengthening your spiritual gift and being more in tune with your spiritual gift. So clairaudient, I love it. I said in my other video though, it is the no, not this one. I love clairaudience because clairaudience helps me read tarot cards. So I love this gift. This one's not a bad one. This one's not a bad gift. I think clairvoyant was the one I was like, that's a little annoying, but we're gonna talk about that one next week. So this one was clairaudient. So again, hold on, me, because I'm gonna repost this video and I don't want all my girls out. Okay, but again, let me do this here. 5 signs that you are clairaudient. The first one is that you communicate telepathically. Are you always sending people's messages through your thoughts? If you are, then you're probably clairaudient. The second one is that you are overstimulated with contrasting frequencies. I don't want this to be confused with contrasting sounds. This is contrasting frequencies. So if you are constantly being overstimulated by contrasting frequencies, then you may be clairaudient. The third one is that you can feel music or that you're musically gifted. So if you're good at playing multiple instruments, if you can spot that song in like a split second, if you can spot samples and anything like that, you're probably clairaudient because you have an ear for music. Number 4 is that you can hear things others cannot. So if you're constantly asking, did you hear that? Did you hear that? You're probably clairaudient. And the last one, last but not least, number 5 is that there are ringing or buzzing of the ears. If your ears are ringing, take a moment, pause, and focus on your thoughts. Focus on what you hear. Focus on what's going around you because there is a message for you. I want to thank y'all for joining me today for another episode of Balanced Millennial Monday with Key. I'm the Conscious Living Coach. Again, I help guide millennials out of survival mode and into a more balanced lifestyle. So if you are looking to release yourself from this capitalist culture and from always being on edge, on survival mode, then I am the coach for you. You can always DM me at any time. You can email me at KEI to your goals at gmail.com. You can check out my website, premierpersonalgrowthfirm.com, and I would love to help you. Thank y'all for joining me for another Balanced Millennial Monday. We'll be back next week to continue our conversation about spiritual gifts. And we're going to talk about clairvoyance next week. So see y'all next week. Thank you for joining.